Sports. That's right. It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, a Week 7 extravaganza. I'm Greg Tupper, editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com, and I know all the secrets of this place, but I'm no snitch. Joined by my older sister, Ashley Pickle. Pickle,
I'm literally 11 years younger than you.
Welcome into Week 7.
11. That's over a decade.
Good. That's quick math.
Thank you.
That's that North,
young and smart. Look at that.
That's that North Texas degree talking. It is Week 7. It is officially the back half of the Texas high school football regular season, and big games all across the state that we had our eye on, and a relatively, I would say this is a week that kind of shapes the remainder of the conversation over the course of the regular season.
I noticed today when I was putting together notes and looking into really the big games and all that stuff, what I got to noticing was I'm looking towards now where teams are sitting in their district. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to look towards, okay, how is this playoff going to shape out in this district? Who would the top two teams be going against in their opposing districts that they're going into? Today was the first time that my brain switched over into, hey, we have to actually start paying attention to what people's records are and can't just go, oh, well, this is great, but district play will start at some point. We can throw that all away.
Yeah, I think everything kind of comes into focus starting this week, and I think that's one of the big things that we're going to be tracking tonight over the next 90 minutes as we bring you scores, highlights, analysis, and special guests along the way. If you stick around with us for the next hour and a half or so. But why get to talking when we can get to score looking? And go immediately to the score zone to look at the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week as determined by some dope on Texas Football Today every Thursday at noon. And we can talk a little bit about these. One of them going on last night. C.E. King, a 42-28 win over Humble Summer Creek. And it is time to have a real live conversation about the Panthers of C.E. King. In consecutive weeks, they have now beaten Atascocita, or in consecutive games, rather, they've beaten Atascocita and Summer Creek.
They looked incredible. And honestly, that score is not indicative. Mm-hmm. They were up 42 to basically, maybe it was 42 to 7 at halftime. They went 42 unanswered points and then didn't score again in the second half. And I think that was pretty much on purpose. They might be the best team in 23-6A. Yeah. Hands down.
They still got North Shore on the horizon, but I mean, they look every bit the part of a contender. And the team speed from C.E. King is pretty shocking, something certainly to behold. The big game of the DFW Metroplex tonight, Duncanville gets 48-28 win over DeSoto in a game that Duncanville kind of roared out early and then kind of decided to just trade punches with DeSoto the rest of the way. Felt like the Duncanville offense really woke up in a big way, in a way that it was lacking in their loss to Waxahachie. It was not lacking tonight. Their quarterback, Maximus the Great Denson, was terrific.
He was the great. Mm-hmm. It's that way for a reason. No, we're actually, I believe, going to be talking to Greg Powers, our director of recruiting, a little bit later about this game. He was there, and I know our big question coming into it was, can Duncanville get that run game going? And I have a strong feeling that's how that score ended up being that way.
A big game down there in District 13, 5A Division 2. Alamo Heights goes on the road and beats Victoria West, previously unbeaten Victoria West, 54-42. We're going to be talking with Ron Redmond, head coach of those Alamo Heights Mules, coming up here in just a little bit. It's the Kraut Bowl up there in North Texas. Munster takes down previously unbeaten Lindsay, 49-28. This was a 21-14 Lindsay lead at the break, but Munster wins their 10th out of the last 11 against the Knights.
Coach Carney knows what he's doing, and I've actually been in a locker room where Coach Carney has given a pregame speech before. If he can give a halftime speech like that, there's no doubt that that's why they suddenly stopped and remembered who they are.
Huge private school game tonight. Argyle Liberty Christian leads Plano Prestonwood pretty comfortably. You have to imagine that Cooper Witten, coming off of a Built for Tough Player of the Week win, is showing out in that one. Another battle of unbeatens. Salina, a winner, or heading towards a win over Sulphur Springs tonight, 38-14. The train keeps on rolling there for Salina.
I do want to say I believe that the Sulphur Springs quarterback was hurt on the first drive of that game, obviously taking nothing away from what looks to be a really good win from Salina, but more it feels like to come from there. And then here with this one too, number 7, your Ganado versus Weimar. I mean, Ganado absolutely putting a hurt on them.
This game was a running clock in the second half. Ganado everything working for them offensively and defensively against a good Weimar squad. That is an impressive win for the defending 2A Division I state champs.
My goodness. We thought it might be a little bit of a mismatch in style and scheme there for Newton versus Woodville, but 72-26 is a statement from Newton.
Kendra Porter looked great. The defense, I think, for Newton, it really came to play in this ball game. Newton wins their 26th out of their last 27 meetings with Woodville. They've owned that series. Coming down to the wire, Rockwall Heath and North Forney locked in a really good one.
We'll make sure to update y'all on that when we get a final.
We'll get more. And then we knew this game was going to be running late, but El Paso Eastwood leads El Paso Franklin 42-26 in two of the most dynamic offenses in Texas high school football, and certainly in the Sun City there with El Paso Eastwood and El Paso Franklin. Those are the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Of course, some of those games we're still waiting to go final. You can keep track of those on texasfootball.com/scores. But it's an interesting mix of kind of old rivalries like Lindsay and Munster, Newton and Woodville, right? And then relatively new rivalries, right? DeSoto and Duncanville is still a relatively young rivalry, right? So those are the types of things that I think really make this week a lot of fun to keep an eye on.
It absolutely is. And not only is this week of football fun, this episode of Texas Football Tonight very, very fun. Let's take a look, and we're going to set you up for what you can expect coming up here in the program. We always have scores, we always have highlights, but let's get into some of the nitty-gritty specifics to make you want to stick around with us for the rest of the night. We take a look at ahead on Texas Football Tonight. Greg Tepper, the district races start to take shape here.
Yeah, you mentioned it all at the top that this is the time of year where you start paying attention more to standings. Standings were kind of neat earlier. Now they are kind of the coin of the realm. We will keep an eye on what's going on with these district races across the state of Texas. That's one of the things we're certainly keeping an eye on tonight across the state, not just in the big high profile districts, but also the districts that you've got kind of de facto district title games tonight.
Absolutely. And then our second thing that we mentioned it earlier, Alamo Heights getting that massive district win on the road against Victoria West. We will have head coach Ron Ritteman joining us later in the program to talk about his Mules and everything that went right with that.
Yeah, that's a really impressive win to go on the road, and I would imagine we may be talking to him from a bus, but it'll be a happy bus ride. You know what I mean?
We're not upset about happy bus rides. And finally, not the last thing, there's a ton of good things to look forward to, but one of the highlights, how about this? A wild statement here, but a battle of unbeatens happening down in George West. How about that?
Yeah, George West taking on Odom in one of only two matchups of unbeatens tonight in the UIL. Sulphur Springs and Salina was the other one, but we will be joined by the winning head coach. That is a tease to keep you sticking around to see which of those teams won that game tonight. But George West and Odom, both undefeated, going at it in a pretty critical matchup there. So it is a big-time night on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We've got a ton to look forward to across the state. We've got scores and highlights coming through across the state of Texas into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football headquarters. If you stick around with us. Coming up here after the break, we're going to take a look at some Thursday action from across the state of Texas. If you stay with us, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, your home for Friday night.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can guard pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. and Baylor Scott and White Health.
Welcome you back in to your Friday night after party. Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight, and there is no better way to kick this thing off by, how about we take a look back at some of the action from last night and check out our Thursday night highlights. We start off with our Baylor Scott and White Health first highlight of the night. This one, a 23-6A battle between C.E. King and Summer Creek. The Panthers would get us started here as running back Antoine Sanders takes the handoff and goes in from 11 yards out, just 51 seconds into the game. Next drive, C.E. King, it's Potts. He's going to throw it to Joshua Hayes, who will make a man miss and take it in from 26 yards out. C.E. King up 14-0. Now, with 3:58 left in the first, Potts rears back, and he lets it fly so far that thing should have applied for a passport. Dylan Mitchell brings it in, and C.E. King suddenly up 21-0. Then in the second quarter we go, C.E. King trying to send a message. Sophomore Dylan Mitchell busts through two defenders and goes in for the score, up 28-0. Now, are you noticing a trend here? Next drive, it's Deion Sims. He will show why he is one of the fastest backs in the state of Texas. This one going in from 42 yards out, 35-0. This is insane. We're now here. We only show special teams for two reasons, turnovers and tutties. Summer Creek will try to return the ensuing kickoff when, bam, he is hit. And Dylan Mitchell, none other, scoops that one up and brings it in for the special teams touchdown. Almost Summer Creek right before the half was able to punch this one in by Braylon Cossey. Then into the third quarter, it's that guy again trying to cut down this deficit and adds another 7 onto the board for Almost Summer Creek. In the third quarter, Sprinks is going to thread that needle straight there to Jamaica Jones from 8 yards out. Now we're 42-21. Into the fourth quarter we go. Bulldogs refusing to give up. Spinks would let this one loose, and it's Benny Easter Jr. who he finds there, but it's too much. 42-28. Sheldon C.E. King goes on to win this district battle.
From Houston to the Syntax, it's Belton taking on Killeen Ellison. Pick up in the first quarter. Ellison's up 6-0. Belton changes that. Will Shepard's going to take it himself. Cut it up the field, get in for the score. It's 7-6 Belton. Then more from Belton, the Tigers. It's going to be Shepard. Evading pressure, looking deep, finding Gavin Ross in the end zone for 41-yard connections. 14-6 Belton on top. Ellison comes back here. This is going to be Marlon Smith swinging it out to Prince Hall, and he knows what to do from there. Staying in bounds, scampering down the sideline, and beating everybody to the pylon. It's a touchdown there for Ellison, cuts it to 14-13. But then, watch this. The defense going to get in on the act as sophomore linebacker Demetrius Perry is going to scoop and score here, go 46 yards, taking it back, and suddenly Ellison has a 19-14 lead in this District 10-5A Division II opener. But calm and cool and collected is Will Shepard. 15-yard touchdown run here. Belton takes a 21-19 lead into the break. To the third quarter we go now. Ellison looking to make something happen. Marlon Smith is going to truck his way in for 6 from 18 yards out. Ellison goes back up 27-21. Now it's Belton's turn to respond, and who else but Will Shepard? What a dog he was in this one, plunging in for a score, his third of the ball game. Belton's up 28-27. Then, still clean to a 28-27 lead. This time, it's going to be Shepard looking to Gavin Ross again in the end zone for a 34-yard pitch and catch, 36-27. Then, add it up here. This is going to be your backbreaker. A little throwback screen from Will Shepard to their running back, who is going to hit the Jets, and nobody will catch him. He will go 71 whopping yards. That puts Belton up 43-34. And then fourth quarter, here the special team's going to get in on the action. It's a blocked punt here, and Graham Chambly going to pounce on it for Belton. Belton goes to 1-0 in district play with a 53-42 win over Killeen Ellison.
Back to the Houston area we go. It's Houston Westbury taking on Spring Woods. This is senior running back Jefferson Rivas Hernandez on the Wildcat. Looks like he's going to get tackled, but ends up taking that one in. 2-point conversion was good on that one. Up 8-0. Then second quarter now, Williams takes the snap and immediately pitches it to Jefferson Hernandez, who will power his way into the end zone. The Huskies are up 18-10 heading into the half. Second half now, Springwood's looking to get on the board, and he turns on the Jets. And that'll be receiver Brandon Alexander. 2-point conversion on that one, also good. Now we're tied at a weird 18-8. Not tied, but we're at 18-8. Huskies back now on offense. They will go ahead and get that one in. They take the lead 25-8. Springwood's looking to answer. Hernandez is going to pitch that one there. Noah Thompson-L, who throws it, and in they go. Then here into the fourth quarter, it's Tiger running back Emmanuel Corzos who takes that in, but it will not be enough. Westboro holds on to win it 25-22 as we take a look now at some other Thursday night scores. Magnolia West taking a 17-50 loss to Klein. Then you've got Converse Judson taking a loss 14-48 over Cibolo Steele. Denton Geyer with a massive 44-16 win over Hebron. Terrell squeaks one out by a score 21-14 over Midlothian Heritage. Canyon Randall up 27-14 over the Demons of Dumas. And then Three-Way was not able to get it done as Bluffdale goes on to win 34-29. What sticks out to you here, Tubbs?
Yeah, a few different things. The mothership there for Klein gets it rolling. Big win over Magnolia West. Cibolo Steele and Converse Judson just a few years ago would have been considered a much bigger deal down there in the Alamo City, but I think it kind of speaks to where the Judson program trying to get its feet underneath it. With Judson ISD has been growing in a lot of ways. Judson trying to get back on track, but Cibolo Steele certainly looking like a wagon there. Denton Geyer gets a good win, critical win to follow up their win last week over Coppell. That's a feisty Hebron team that they took care of. It's time to start talking a little bit about Terrell. Terrell's now 6-0 on the year, and I don't think that enough people are talking about them from a statewide perspective. Canyon Randall gets a nice win, and then the six-man ranks. That's one of the best six-man games of the week is Bluffdale's 34-29 win over Three-Way. So it was a big Thursday night of action across the state of Texas in all classifications. You see us taking it all the way down from 6-8 down to 6-man. Let's keep the highlight train rolling and go down to the Rio Grande Valley where Weslaco was taking on La Jolla in Thursday night action. Let's head down to the RGV. Here comes those Panthers from Weslaco. And they will get things started early with Chris Luna handing the ball off to David Perez, who's going to show the speed, take it 50 yards for the score. Panthers go for two and get it. Weslaco is up 8-0 after this early strike. Then, speaking of strike, the Panthers would do it again. David Garcia, this time run it in for a touchdown. Panthers are up 15-0. Now check out this next play. Chris Luna, quarterback for Weslaco, looking for someone to throw to. Looking. Then he's going to send it full send. Hunter McCandles hauls it in. Great catch. Panthers on the board again. It's 22-0. La Jolla's got the ball. Owen Benoit is going to use a trick play. Ends up being a handoff to Mauricio Mendoza, but he fumbles. It's a fumble. Weslaco pounces on it. That kind of night, unfortunately, for La Jolla because that would lead to this. Panthers Chris Luna with a deep ball to Hunter McCandles in stride. 57-7. Weslaco cruises past La Jolla.
Out to East Texas we go. Mildred and Frankston. The Frankston Indians hosted the Corsicana Mildred Eagles on a Thursday night. Frankston quarterback Carson Bazell passes to wide receiver Braden Gray for the big-time touchdown as he stomps his way into the end zone. Here's Frankston running back Michael Bryant making the dash for the end zone, breaking through the Eagles' defense, adding some points to the scoreboard. The score at halftime was 20-0, but Frankston would go on to win it 32-6.
Let's go down to the Austin area. Bastrop taking on Pflugerville Connolly on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. This is going to be Weston Nielsen finding Zach Wilkinson for a 5-yard touchdown strike. Bastrop's up 14-3. Then they would extend the lead here, courtesy of Gary Jefferson Jr. Look at the moves. He will break free into the open field and outrun everyone to the goal line. He will go 81 whopping yards to the house. Bastrop takes a 21-3 lead, and it would get going from there. This is going to be Gary Jefferson Jr. again, this time on the receiving end of this pass from his quarterback, Weston Nielsen. He will cruise in for the score. It's 28-3. Still in the second quarter now, and it's Connolly going with a halfback pass. This is going to be Jonah Garcia is going to find Rashawn Franklin for the score. It's a beautiful pitch and catch. 28-18 is the Bastrop lead at the break. Third quarter, Bastrop gets back on the good foot. This is going to be Weston Nielsen looking, firing a strike. Zach Wilkinson will do the rest from there. Goes 39 yards, picks up a nice block there. It's 35-18. Then more from Bastrop and more from Gary Jefferson Jr. His third touchdown of the night. 19-yard touchdown run here as he's making everybody look silly. 42-18 is your score there. And just for good measure, one more time, Nielsen to Zach Wilkinson. Across the middle, it goes for 53 yards and a score. His third touchdown of the night. Bastrop cruises past Pflugerville Connolly. 62-18 is your final.
Going back to that Weslaco La Jolla game, I had my eye on that one, and it's because I think that District 31 6A in the last 2 weeks of the season, that's going to be where the fun hits, because you've got Weslaco right now. They're 1-0 in district, and the other two teams who I think that they're probably going to have to compete with are Edinburgh and then Edinburgh Econometis. Both of those happen in Week 10 and Week 11. So 31-6A, keep your eye on it, especially when we start to get into the latter half of the season, right before playoffs, because that's when that one's going to be decided.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a 6-team district, right? So, yeah, 31 is a 6-team district, and 32 is a 5-team district.
Yes.
The UIL opting to make 2 districts out of 11 teams down there in the Rio Grande Valley to make the math work. That is going to, I think, make for a bit of a chaotic sprint to the finish, because all of these teams are going to know that every one of these games down the stretch are going to mean a whole heck of a lot for every one of these teams. So it is a massive, massive win there for Weslaco and the team that we are keeping an eye on down there in the Rio Grande Valley. We are just getting the party started here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. We have got Friday night scores and highlights rolling into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. Coming up here after the break, we go to the Brazos Valley, the Permian Basin. We will talk to the winner of Alamo Heights and Victoria West if you stay with us. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Fueling the Future Award, presented by Dutch Bros, honors exceptional teachers across Texas who go above and beyond to energize and inspire their students every day. These educators exemplify passion, dedication, and a commitment to shaping the leaders of tomorrow. Each month, one deserving teacher is recognized with a commemorative award and a $500 donation courtesy of Dutch Bros to support their academic department and further their impactful work in the classroom. To nominate your teacher, visit texasfootball.com/fuelingthefuture.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road. From up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need. So you can get in, get out, and get back out there. Like, fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, your Friday night after party. We are recapping a wild and woolly night of Texas high school football here at the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. Greg Tepper, Ashley Pickle here along with you. One of the games we had our eye on was going on down in the Crossroads. Victoria West, unbeaten, welcomed in arguably their biggest test of the year with the Alamo Heights Mules, who came into town, and they are heading back to San Antonio with a 54-42 win in tow with them, a critical District 13 5A Division II win there for the Mules of Alamo Heights. And we were pleased to be joined by the head coach of those Alamo Heights Mules here on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline, Coach Ron Rittiman, joining us now. Coach, congratulations on the win. I know you don't take these types of wins lightly. What was it about your team tonight that allowed you guys to come away with the victory?
Just their perseverance. They just kept fighting the whole game in all three phases. Offense just had to keep scoring. Defense got just enough stops, and we won enough kicking plays to end up having success on the scoreboard. So couldn't be more proud of them.
Coach, when you're going down on the road to take on an undefeated program, an over 2-hour-long bus ride, I mean, that's no easy feat. What is the message to your team when you know you're going up against that difficult task?
Well, it's really putting all the external things away. Just stay focused on what's important. Once we got there, once we took the bus drive and got there, we got on our regular routine that we do every Friday night. And so the consistency of that, the discipline to do that, by the time it's time to kick off at 7 o'clock, we try to make it be as routine as possible every week. But what a great environment, man. Victoria West had a great crowd. It was their homecoming. There was a lot of people. It was just a great Texas high school Friday night football game.
Coach, I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask you about your outstanding running back, DK Garza. This is a young man who has really taken on an even bigger role in this offense there with the Mules. The numbers are impressive, and we can turn on the tape and tell you that this is a pretty good football player. As the guy who gets to see him every day in practice, what is it about DK Garza that makes him special?
You just said it. He's just special. He practices hard. He's a great leader. Takes care of all the little details does well academically and is our unity council and the captain, and he just enjoys the game and plays it the right way.
And finally, Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you a little bit about your defense. This has been a defense that, statistically the numbers may not be spectacular, but it feels like you guys have a knack for the big moment and the big play. What have you seen from your defense so far this season that has you most encouraged?
Well, they are relentless. We keep playing hard. We're doing a lot of good things, and we got just enough stops to be successful. But we've got to get better, and we will. They show up every Monday to practice. They work hard, and we're going to get that thing fixed.
He is Ron Ritterman. He's going home a winner there from Victoria West. Coach, we really appreciate the time, and most importantly, please tell that lovely wife of yours we said hello.
Okay.
We'll do it. Thank you, Ashley.
There you go. He's Ron Ritterman, and his Alamo Heights Mules takes down Victoria West in a massive big district matchup.
That's a really important win for them in District 13 5A Division 2. That's a tough road test. Victoria, I don't know, get out a map if you don't know how far Victoria is from San Antonio. It's a decent drive.
The high schools alone are 2 hours and 6 minutes apart, and that was when I looked at 9 p.m. tonight. Mm-hmm. And so traffic, think about going to traffic when you have to get there. I mean, it's insane.
And by the way, buses don't always go the speed limit. So,
No.
You know what I mean? So, it is, and I mean, they go slower than the speed limit, to be clear. This is a really, really important win. I think DK Garza, we had big questions about Alamo Heights entering the year because they lose their all-everything guy in Michael Terry, right? He's off to play at the University of Texas. What were they going to look like offensively? Well, DK Garza has really put on the cape for this team, and I think that has been really important. Still some kinks to work out defensively, and I think Coach kind of hit the nail on the head. They're trying to figure out what things are going to look like defensively, but I'm very, very interested to see where Alamo Heights goes from here. I think it's fair to say that they have certainly reloaded in a hurry.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not like an Alamo Heights squad is used to not having to score a lot of points, so it's kind of par for the course there, but they'll get it figured out defensively. Yeah. All right, we go ahead back to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight score zones, and as Ron Ritterman and the Alamo Heights Mules travel over to San Antonio, let's take a look at some of the other 2-1-0 scores across the state. This one currently in overtime, and this is a very big anticipated rivalry every year in the San Antonio area as Reagan and Johnson currently with the lead 33-27. Somerset in a massive win there, 23-7 over Canyon Lake, and then San Antonio Piper 56-42 able to get that one done.
I can tell you that the game has gone final. Johnson has pulled away for a 34-27 win over Reagan in the Stone Oak Super Bowl as Johnson remains unbeaten there on the season. Big win for them. You mentioned Somerset, their win over Canyon Lake. How about Poth? Big winners tonight on the road or at home against Catula. We had our eye on Hitchcock and Hallisville. Hitchcock is another team that we wondered how were they going to reload after graduating a lot of big-time talent. Well, they have reloaded in a hurry, and then we talked about the Cibolo Steel win over Judson on Thursday night. By the way, San Antonio Piper, keep an eye on those Warriors there in Comal ISD.
No doubt. The other one for me was the Somerset win. I think that was a massive district win in 14-4A Division 1. I don't think that head coach Coy Detmer gets enough credit for what he's done with that Bulldogs squad. When he came in, they were 2-7 in back-to-back seasons in 2019 and 2020. Since then, here's his records: 8-3, 10-3, 6-5, 9-3, and then now they're sitting here doing this. It's not necessarily saying that they're going to win the district championship. They still have 6-0 Davenport to go through, at least, well, depending on Davenport, so if they won or lost tonight. But they went into the game tonight undefeated, so keep your eye on that one.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge win there, I think, in District 14.
Absolutely. All right, we check back in with the score zone as we keep scores rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, and we're heading from San Antonio over to the Brazos Valley. Not a super far drive.
A little bit, yeah.
It's fine.
From UTSA country to Aggie land.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. As Navasota takes down Needville 42-35, a big win for Franklin, 68-27 over Troy.
Yeah, that's a really nice win for Franklin, taking on Troy, and Franklin, the number one team in 3A Division 1, looking great. Burton goes on the road to Somerville, gets a win as well. Madisonville takes down LaGrange tonight, 52-35. Bremond keeps on rolling. Big win over Meridian, 53-love, and then it was Centerville with a win tonight over Hearn.
Yeah, that puts Burton at 7-0 on the season. I mean, they are undefeated. That's 4-0 there in district play in 13-2A Division II. They had 6 wins total the past 2 seasons, and now they're already here. I think junior running back Caden Peterson has been so good for the rushing attack. In the last 2 games, the defense pitched a shutout, and then they come in tonight, let some go against a really good Somerville team, but keep an eye on Burton.
Yeah, Burton's looked very good, and those last 2 games that they have, they finished the year in Week 9, Week 10. They take the Week 11 open date. They finished the year on the road at Iola, and then they finished the year at home against currently unbeaten Granger. That is ultimately going to tell the tale there for Burton, but they are looking very good right now. And then Bremond, a team that keeps on rolling. They're kind of in in the Brazos Valley, a team that we think has an opportunity to really make some noise there in 2A Division II. Presently, I believe, the number 3 ranked team in 2A Division II, if I have that correct. He said confidently. We're rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. Scores rolling into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. Of course, TexasFootball.com/scores has all of the things that you need to know from across the state of Texas. We're going to go from the Brazos Valley to the Permian Basin. So that is a far drive. If you're going to go from Aggie Land all the way out to greater Odessa, Midland, that's going to pack some snacks.
Yeah, you're going to have to probably stop for gas.
At least once. Yeah, absolutely. One of the big games in 6-man football tonight, a low-scoring slugfest, is Rankin. Edges past Garden City 24-16. It was Midland Legacy opening up Little Southwest Conference play on the road at San Angelo Central. Get a 58-42 win over those angry orange of San Angelo Central. Bushland all over Andrews tonight, 34-12. It was Wolforth Friendship also opening District 2 6A play with a win over Midland tonight, 42-31. Seminole takes down Fort Stockton in a big way, 59-7, and Wink all over McCamey tonight, 73-14.
That's obviously a big win for Wink when you're talking about a numerical perspective, but even more so than that, in District 4 2A Division II, I think that next week's game, that's where your eyes should go. Wink is going to go on and take on Ira Ann, who I think are probably the 2 best teams in that district. Very, very excited as we look forward to Week 8 for that Wink and Ira Ann game.
I think so. And then obviously there's 2 games there in the Little Southwest Conference there with Midland and Midland Legacy both playing tonight. And Friendship takes an early lead in that district there with them and Legacy both getting wins. Those are programs. One of the things that I love about District 2 6A is all those programs know each other really well. Mm-hmm. And so even though, like, for example, I think this is a take on my perspective. I think Legacy's a lot better than San Angelo Central this year. I think that they just have more talent right now. But because of the understanding of each of these programs and how close these programs know each other, that's going to make for really fun matchups the rest of the way, regardless of if you have, say, a 6th-place team playing a 1st-place team. I don't know if that's the case there with Legacy and Central. I'm saying that you can expect competitive ball games all throughout the District 2 6A slate, simply because these programs know each other really well.
Absolutely. All right, there we go. A bunch of scores from literally all over the state. We hope that y'all are enjoying partying with us here on the after party of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We have more highlights coming up, scores, coaches, calls, tomfoolery, nonsense, partying, all the fun that you could hope to have on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We'll see you after the break.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Texas Army National Guard are honored to present the Coach of the Week Award, celebrating one head coach in 7 different classifications. That's 6A all the way down to 6-man, and of course, private school every single week. Think your head coach deserves some recognition? Nominate them under our weekly Twitter and Facebook post. Those will come out Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m., and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. That's facebook.com/Dave Campbell's or at DCTF on Twitter. Thank you to Texas Army National Guard for helping spotlight the hard work and dedication of high school head coaches across Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Garage Door Doctor to spotlight 10 deserving teen moms across the DFW Metroplex. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Teen Mom Appreciation Award. Think you know a deserving teen mom? Head on over to www.texasfootball.com/teen mom to submit a nomination.
The heartbeat of Dripping Springs, I believe, is our school district. I nominated Coach Waits because he's been a part of everything over the last 6 or 7 decades that is Dripping Springs athletics. He is Dripping Springs ISD.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
And we welcome you back into Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. There was plenty of Texas high school football happening, and we here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football like to talk about that. So how about we check out now the DFW area, as a massive district matchup was going on against Denton Ryan and the Richland Royals. We head now to the highlights. The Royals open up the game with Jay-Sean Gibson pushing his way into the end zone. You think he's done? Absolutely not. It almost looks like the same thing, but he leaps over there to score again. Denton Ryan wouldn't go unnoticed. Quinn Hennigan throwing for 25 yards to Raymond Smith. He'll pull that one down. Ryan tying the game with a 15-yard run there from Raymond Smith. Then, get used to hearing that name. Richland accidentally bounces a punt off of Jay-Sean Gibson and sends the ball past their end zone, giving Denton the touchback and 2 points. Denton Ryan keeping the pressure with a 74-yard kick return. He's going to take this one all the way back to the house. It's John Catlin Jr. marking it as his third kickoff return of the season. And then Richland takes the handoff, and in goes Jay-Sean Gibson. He was just the do-it-all man tonight. Quinn Hennigan now for Denton Ryan, trying to have the answer here late in the fourth. Can he get it done? It's Raymond Smith! He takes it, and Denton Ryan goes on to win it in a thriller, 30-21.
One of the big games of the night, DeSoto taking on Duncanville. Maximus the Great Denton fires a 20-yard touchdown pass to Emmanuel Ellison, gets Duncanville on the board early. Then DeSoto just hands the ball off to Sherrod Baker. I don't want to tell people how to do their job. That seems like a good idea. 30 yards later, he's in the end zone, knots his ball game up, or brings him within one. Then it's going to be the lateral here to Ace and Theus, who will go 30 yards to the house. Then more from Duncanville. Clean pocket there as Maximus Denson throws to Trenton Yancey, who's going to get lateral and get into the end zone for another score. DeSoto, though, would have an answer. This time, you're going to see another touchdown there to Yancey in for the score. DeSoto would have an answer, though, in the form of Ethan Feaster. Booby Feaster going to make a couple men miss and hit the afterburners. It's a 60-yard touchdown there for DeSoto. They will not go away. Closes it within 28-13. Then Duncanville. Here's more from Feaster. He goes up with an insane catch, 15-yard touchdown, and suddenly we've got a ball game. It's 28-20, but too much from Duncanville. Emmanuel Ellison catch and run there for a 40-yard touchdown. That would put them up 42-20, and finally DeSoto would get another touchdown here from Sherrod Baker. He's going to take the handoff and go in for the score, but Duncanville goes on to beat their rival 48-23 is your final there, and we are pleased to be joined by the man who was on site for this game, a guy that knows a little bit about recruiting. It's our director of recruiting, Greg Powers, who joins us to talk a little bit about what he saw. Powers, appreciate you making the trip here. This is a big win there for Duncanville. I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback there, Maximus Denson, who threw for 7 touchdown passes tonight. He was everywhere. I know we had questions about how they were going to replace Keelan Russell, who's now off at the University of Alabama. Seems like maybe Duncanville's found a quarterback.
I would say this was his breakout game, right? He scored 7 touchdowns, hitting 4 different receivers for those touchdowns. There was D1 talent all over the field in this game, so over 30 D1 prospects.
Well, and Powers, on the other side of this, we were thinking about, okay, they've obviously got a quarterback now, but it seemed like we're so used to seeing a Reggie Samples coach ball club who just pounds the rock, run the ball, baby. And we haven't really seen that this year. What did you take away from Duncanville's running game tonight?
Well, the run game was fine, but it was really the passing game. This isn't like your normal Reginald Samples Duncanville team anymore, and it really caught me by surprise. They do a lot of motion. They do a lot of different formations. They're bringing a lot of different things to the table within this offensive scheme that's not your typical Duncanville offense. And on the other side, DeSoto had some pretty big-time playmakers as well. So Rod Baker scored 2 touchdowns, went for 135 yards. And, of course, Booby Feaster also had 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's headed to USC after he's done playing Texas high school football.
Powers, I do want to ask you about the Duncanville defense. This is the defense that we knew was going to be pretty young to start the year, especially in the back half. I'm curious your perspective of what you saw from this Duncanville defense. Obviously, a big win containing a pretty high-powered DeSoto attack, holding them within to 23 points. What did you see defensively from Duncanville tonight?
This is a really good Duncanville defense. Now, DeSoto's offense is plenty explosive. They got a lot of playmakers, so they're hard to stop. But the one name that I want everybody at home to remember is defensive end Landon Barnes. The Ole Miss commit is firmly now possibly a 5-star in the future, making him one of the top 5 players in the state. He's my most stock-up player of any player I've watched so far in the 2025 season.
Oh, wow. That's big compliments coming from you, Greg. Finally, obviously, DeSoto taking the loss. We've kind of been, back and forth on what this DeSoto team is, but most importantly, they're still a team that is chock full of recruits. Who from the Eagles squad stuck out to you on an individual perspective tonight?
Well, no doubt it was Booby Feaster. This is a guy that his rankings on all the national services are all over the place. We have him as the number 7 wide receiver. And, of course, he reclassified this year, so he's a senior when he was a junior, when he's supposed to be a junior. So he's a young guy. He's a young senior who's going off to USC. I was really impressed. 6'2", 185 pounds. He really passes the eyeball test, and he was burning some legit P4 level Duncanville defensive backs at times. The question for me now is what's going to happen in 11-6A. This is a district now that's kind of thrown in to chaos. You have Cedar Hill that's undefeated, and you have, I think, 3 or 4 teams now at 2-1, with Waxahachie holding a trump card with a win over Duncanville. To me, this game tonight kind of blows the doors wide open, and we'll see what happens as the year progresses.
He's Greg Powers. He's our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You can follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout and see his fine work at texasfootball.com/recruiting. Powers, thanks for your time. We appreciate you, my friend. And safe travels back to, I don't know, wherever he lives. He lives in, Recruitville.
Recruitville.
Recruitville. He's heading back.
City of Cruton.
He's heading back to Cruitville right now. It's a huge win there for this Duncanville team, because in a lot of ways what it does is now that loss to Waxahachie from a playoff perspective, it doesn't get erased obviously, but everything they needed to do is right back in front of them, because they've kind of forced that 3-way tie.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is Duncanville has barely played any football games.
Yeah.
And the ones that they have played, then you're sitting there going, okay, well, they take a loss to Waxahachie. That's not a thing that we're used to seeing them take losses, anything. This felt like that settle down into it and sit there and feel like you can move forward with the rest of the season and start looking not forward to playoffs, but knowing that, hey, we're still that team that everybody thinks we are.
Let's take a look at some other big games and scores tonight in the DFW Metroplex, some scores that we've been keeping an eye on tonight. One of them going down, actually Matt Stepp was at this game, Eagle Mountain, in one of their biggest games in the young program history, fall to Brock tonight, 41-13. Mansfield Summit takes down Mansfield Timberview in a really critical game there, 39-29. Alvord gets a 49-42 win over previously unbeaten Tom Bean in a wild one. Allen keeps on rolling with a 62-14 win over Princeton. It was North Crowley getting right with a big win over Mansfield Lake Ridge. And Anna, no problems tonight with Frisco Emerson. They win at 56-14.
Yeah, a really, really, really big game there for Brock, especially, I think, to go out there in that district and be able to say, hey, no, we're still the team. We're still the team. And that offense is incredible. Holt Frazier, Colt Matlock, they are firing on all cylinders. They're outscoring opponents 341-67 after this matchup.
Seems pretty good there. That's DFW Metroplex scores. Of course, you can go to TexasFootball.com/scores to see all the scores as they flow into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. You want to go to the Big Country?
I do, because we actually had our first Big Country game of the week on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, and the matchup was the anticipated Anson versus Hawley game. We head out to the Big Country, and Hawley starts. It'll be Aiden Romo throwing to Caden Abels, the coach's son. He's going to take that one in from 70 yards out. He puts Hawley up first. Then Romo again is going to throw it, and guess who he finds? Abels! They're in the end zone, and they go up 16-0. Hawley again. Guess what? Romo, he just keeps doing it. This time he's going to find Braylon Williams, who will dive his way into the end zone. Anson trying to get back into the game here, and it's Malachi St. John who runs in that ball. Hawley keeping control of the 5-yard pass. That's to Alex Cardina. Anson staying dangerous. This is a kick return. 70 yards by Alexander Lozano to cut the deficit. Anson still waking up, and it's that guy again, Malachi St. John's. He's going to take that and hurdle into the end zone here. Hawley will go on to win it 39-28. We head back over to our Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight score zone as we go into the Big Country, and Brownwood squeaking one out 42-39 over Lampasas. That is a massive upset considering how this season has gone for both of those two teams.
Let me tell you something. That was previously unbeaten Lampasas, and they go to Brownwood, and what a first huge win there for Gerald Brixey and company. That is the kind that is going to resonate there. A huge win for there. And then, how about another upset as Cisco takes down Stanford tonight in impressive fashion? This was a Stanford team that I thought looked, of course, played for a state championship a year ago, but Cisco at 5-1. It's time to start paying attention to the Big Damn Lobos. They have looked fantastic. Jayton, the number 1 team in 1A Division II, gets a win over Paint Creek tonight, 63-8. It was Abilene Cooper winning the Battle of Cooper squads as they knock off Lubbock Cooper tonight, 66-16. Jim Ned all over Comanche, 56-3, and it was Dillion. Still a threat, I think, in 2A Division I Region 2. They get a win tonight over Heiko. But I really can't stress enough that Lampasas, that Brownwood win over Lampasas is pretty important, I think, for Brownwood to get back into the mix and really establish themselves as now they're entering district play, a force to be reckoned with within the district.
That's a Brownwood defense that had to stop Bryson Roberts, KJ Reed, Jaden McElwain. I mean, they were a Lampasas team that they were either firing on all cylinders or they were dead determined that they were going to find a way to pull games out. Stopping their rushing attack in and of itself, I think that's what I take away from this, is that Brownwood defense had to step up in a massive way to be able to pull that off. And two, when you have been sitting there and maybe you've been hearing people around town talk, or you're wondering if this team's ever going to get it done to not only win this game, but to pull out a very close victory. I think that says something about the team is starting to buy into what Brixey is telling them.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And you take a look at how Brownwood started the year, right? They get shut out by Abilene Wiley, and then they lose 35-10 to Wall, right? A 3A team, but a good one, but a 3A team, right? They win a close one over what is currently a winless Glen Rose team. Then they fall back to earth. They get pretty much drubbed by Waco La Vega. The offense has not been getting into gear, but the last 2 weeks, last week against Ingleside and then this week against Lampasas, they outscored their previous 5 games combined. I mean, something has clicked offensively for Gerald Brixey's ball club, and it's at the perfect time. Now they're getting into district play. So a massive win there for Brownwood there at the Big Country. So from the Big Country, let's go to the Golden Triangle and check out what's going on down there in the southeast part of the state. Hampshire Finette taking on Silsbee tonight in action on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. We're going to pick things up in the first quarter. This is going to be R.J. Williams. Going to go down the right sideline, 65 yards to the house, and that would put Silsbee up early, 7-0. Then later, the Tigers, Jacaleb Johnson is going to take the snap, and they're going to go tush-push on him. shove them into the end zone. I know Ashley Pickle, big Philadelphia Eagles fan, loves that. It's 14-0.
Who are you talking about?
Top. Now in the second quarter, it's Hagan Morris runs 6 yards in for the score. It's 21-0 Silsbee making a statement here. And then just a few seconds left in the half, and the Tigers, with a big-time sack on quarterback Blake Broussard, they're going to swallow him up in the backfield. It's 28-0 there in the there as the Silsbee defense go into work and go into the halftime there. Longhorns put on some points to the board here as they go around the outside to get in for the score. But the Tigers' dominance continues here. It's going to be Jacaleb Johnson. He's going to take the snap. It's a design quarterback run, and he will go 32 yards to the house to extend the lead to 35-6. They'll finish it off with this touchdown run here from Hagan Morris. That would make the score 41-13. Longhorns made it better in the last few minutes, but ultimately Silsbee wins it 41-20. Let's take a look at some other scores from the Golden Triangle. Folks, it's time to start having a conversation about the Beaumont Westbrook Bruins. 37-7 winners tonight over Baytown Sterling. West Orange Stark winner tonight, shutting out Jasper 33-0. Bridge City takes down Hardin Jefferson tonight, 24-6. It was New Caney West Fork going on the road and beating Nederland 34-25 there, which is also going to have major implications within that district. Little Cypress Mauriceville gets a win over Livingston tonight, 48-28. And it was Orangefield, 49-13 winners tonight over Cold Spring Oakhurst. A lot of hyphens here.
Yeah, no kidding. We always respect the hyphens around here. But yeah, you mentioned it. Taking a look at District 8 5A Division 2, where it's kind of that New Caney West Fork ending up taking down Nederland. It's time for Nederland a little bit. They're 1-2 now in district. You'll remember last week they went into an absolute 4 overtime shootout against Dayton and ended up falling there. Here's the rest of the teams in this district. I mean, this is an insane district. Montgomery at 3-0 in district. You've got Port Neches Groves, who's undefeated right now, 6-0 on this season. You're looking at New Caney West Fork, now 2-1 in district play, 4-2 overall. Dayton's 4-2 overall. I mean, you've even got a team like now Nederland falling to 3-3. This is a deep district that looks like there could be a really good football team that's the 5th seed and is not going to make it into the playoffs. We have thrown complete chaos into 8-5A Division 2, this game being a big portion of that.
Yeah, Nederland now, I mean, they've still got to play Lake Creek, they've still got to play P&G, and they've still got to play Huntsville, not to mention they've still got to play Montgomery. Like, you're exactly right. The game against West Fork, that's a huge, huge win for a new program down there in New Caney. They've got to be feeling really good about themselves, but for Nederland, this is a tough, tough loss tonight. We're rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight. We have got more scores and highlights coming up, but first, I want to invite you to go to Texas or go to 4playeroftheweek.com/nominate to nominate your Gridiron Hero for excellence on and off the field. That's FordPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate to nominate your Gridiron Hero for excellence on and off the field. If you want to hear their name read by Ashley Pickle on the air, go to FordPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate and tell us why they should be the Bill Ford Player of the Week. Stay with us. Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need, so you can get in, get out, and get back out there, like fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford
Back here, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We're talking football in Texas tonight. That's why we named the show that. It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. It's not complicated, obviously. We got scores and highlights from a Week 7 of Texas high school football rolling into Dave Campbell's Texas Football headquarters. Let's go over to the score zone and talk about what's going on in the Texoma region up along the Red River. Pottsboro gets a win tonight over Palmer, 57-43. A Palmer team that had been rolling but now has lost 2 straight here as Pottsboro gets the better of them. Sanger all over Van Alstyne tonight, 73-23. Great win for Sanger. A game we talked about being a really critical game for them. They get it. Paris with a winner tonight over Aubrey, 49-17, and Era loses their first game of the night at the hands of Santo, or season rather, at the hands of Santo, 27-14. Gunner all over Kalispberg tonight, 43-6, and it was Tioga getting a big winner tonight over White Ripe, 73-6.
Yeah, I don't think people understand just how important that Pottsboro over Palmer win was. When you take a look at District 6-3 Division 1, I mean, it is deep at the top between Pottsboro, now 6-1 on the season, Pilot Point in the same boat, Whitesboro, Palmer. Those should be the 4 playoff teams. But it's more about seeding at this point. You have to keep winning these games because when you look at who they would match up with in the by-district round, you're looking at District 5. That's teams like Grandview, West, Whitney. I mean, you don't want to end up being the 3rd or 4th team in that seeding because you don't want to have to travel to any of those places and go take on the home team, District 1 and 2.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Spot 1 and 2 in District 5. A lot of numbers.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And you know, I also want to touch on Santo getting a win over Era tonight. Really impressive victory. You know, this is an Era team that entered at 5-0. Ahead looked very good and at home, but Santo did what basically nobody's been able to do, which is slow down that offense. This is an Era offense that came in averaging 41 points a game. They hold them to 14 on the road in a district opener. Big win for Devin Mann and company. That is the same district with Munster and Lindsay, so there's still a lot to go there. And if you missed the top of the show, Munster gets a win over Lindsay tonight to take command of that district. But yeah, so for Era, it was a great start to non-district. They got to figure things out in order to keep up the pace. But a really nice win there for Santo. Actually, down the road in Week 10, I'm going to go see Santo against Lindsay, which has turned out to be
nice.
Real whale of a ball game.
No, it absolutely will be.
Should be a lot of fun.
All right, so there we go. We close out the Texoma scores. So if you don't know where Texoma is, think kind of like not East Texas and not North Texas. It's kind of right up there, but more on the eastern side of the state.
Red River, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So we're going to go from that side of the state. I guess if you're looking at camera, it would be this side of the state. And we're going to go all the way out west. And if you think that you've gone west enough, just keep going.
Get on 10 and
west.
just keep going.
How about we go out to El Paso and take a look at some scores in the Sun City. Del Valle gets the win 42-14 over El Paso. Hanks Parkland, a 35 loss with El Dorado scoring 78 points. My
Boy, they can
goodness.
score out there.
El Paso Austin 35-7 over Clint. East Letta 55-8 over Fabens. El Paso Chapin went ahead and pitched a shutout there, 56-0 over El Paso High, and then Canutillo showing what a good team they are there against El Paso Jefferson, 59-0.
Yeah, they say Viva La Jeff out there in El Paso, but tough night for the Silver Foxes. I want to make sure we close the loop here on the game we had our eye on, arguably the biggest game in El Paso this season so far, as Eastwood gets a 49-26 win over El Paso Franklin. Critical District 1 6A win there for them, and more importantly, containing what has been one of the hottest offenses in Texas high school football in El Paso Franklin. I also think that Del Valle win over Hanks is important. You know, this is a Del Valle team that obviously, when you talk about what they've got with Jake Fetty, their quarterback, has been terrific, but they open up district play in District 1 5A Division 2 with a really important win over El Paso Hanks. The offense got rolling, but more importantly, they're going to go as their defense goes, and that is an impressive victory there. I'm sorry, they've been in district play a long time. I got my divisions confused here, but they are now coming off of a loss last week to El Paso Chapin. This is a really big get-right game for them, and I think that was an important victory for the Conquistadores of El Paso Del Valle. Another game we had our eye on, one of only 2 matchups of unbeatens in the entire state of Texas in UIL football, down in George West, as the George West Longhorns were welcoming in the Odom Owls in a matchup of unbeatens, and it is the Longhorns of George West who improve to 6-0 on the year and stay unbeaten on the season. An impressive feat for Coach Rod Blunt there, and we are pleased to be joined on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline by Coach Rod Blunt down there in George West. Coach, we so appreciate your time. Congratulations on the win. You were taking on an Odom team that was coming in feeling good. You guys had found a way to get this thing done. What was it about your squad tonight that allowed you guys to get the victory?
Focused and getting better every single day, and just super proud of them. It was a struggle. It was a battle early on. Nobody scored in first half, and we're able to break a couple of good runs in the second quarter and open it up. But Odom's a great team and kept fighting, and we had to fight all the way through the end. But our guys did a great job starting with the trenches, doing awesome.
Coach, not only is this your first year there leading George West, that's hard enough to get athletes to buy in on your philosophy and what you bring to the table. You also had the crazy idea to change the spread into the slot T, and now here you are undefeated on the year. How did you do that?
George West has a long history of being great in the slot T, and Coach Holt did a great job in the 90s, and then again when I was on staff and in the 2000s, and I was close with a lot of the kids growing up, same age as Cohen, and as soon as I stepped on campus, their dads were behind it 100% because they had played for it in the 90s, and the kids bought in right away. George West is a great community, and they expect you to work their kids hard and hold them to a high standard, and so we've just been able to roll with it.
Coach, I want to ask you about your defense, too. These were two of the top 3 scoring offenses in all of 3A Division II, and you were able to hold Odom not just well below their average, but to their lowest output of the season. What was it about your defense, especially tonight, that allowed you guys to come away with this victory?
Those guys, they get after it and fly to the football. We want our defensive line to keep that offensive line off our linebackers and let them run. We got 2 of the best sophomore linebackers probably in the state with Kason Compost and Dylan Thomasy, and Blake Alanis is doing a great job in the middle leading the defense, and it's just all around team effort. Secondary was coming up and making big plays at the line of scrimmage as well. Just super proud of their effort tonight, and we had a big play on special teams that kind of broke it open as well.
And Coach, you're done and dusted. Odom's done. Nothing, no harder tasks the rest of the season. Oh, other than the fact that you've got Santa Rosa, Hebronville, Taft. I mean, you've got some of the toughest teams in this district still to go in the last 3 weeks of the season. What's the message to your team about keeping the momentum that you received tonight going?
We have a lot of great teams and very good coaches that do a great job everywhere. But it's about us and what we want to do in our long-term goals. So we got to show up every day to work and get after it. And that's what they've been. We had a off week, and it was probably the best practice during the off week that I've seen, because the guys are focused and they want to do great things.
He's Rod Blunt. He's the head coach of the undefeated George West Longhorns after their big win tonight over Odom. Coach, we so appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the win, and go enjoy this one at least until midnight.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having us. Thank you very much.
There he goes. Rod Blunt, head coach of the George West Longhorns. As you take a look at other Coastal Bend scores from that part of that neck of the woods. East Bernardo winner tonight over Bowling 44-21. It was Lavernia handing a loss to Port Lavaca Calhoun 38-3. How about Rockport Fulton? A winner tonight over Cuero in what can only be described as a bit of a stunner. As Cuero goes on the road and takes their first loss of the year. Rockport Fulton, what a victory there for Rockport Fulton. It was Refugio taking care of Santa Maria the night, 64-7. Corpus Christi Miller gets a big win tonight over Corpus Christi Carroll, 31-0, and it was El Campo, which is Spanish for the Campo, getting a winner tonight over Beeville Jones, 45-7.
Tomato.
It's true. It is Spanish for the Campo. That Rockport Fulton win over Cuero is pretty shocking, honestly. This is a Cuero team, though, state-ranked, undefeated, and had kind of been rolling, especially defensively. I've been impressed with what they've been able to do defensively, but it finally got them bit against a good Rockport Fulton team that gets a critical. Here's the thing. Cuero's 6-1 now, but more importantly, they're 0-1 in district play. And by the way, next week, take on Sinton, who's undefeated.
This is a stupidly tough district in 15 4A Division II. Not only do you have Sinton, You've got Robstown, who's now 1-0 in district and sitting there at 6-1 on the year. Cuero was obviously a big one, but now we're looking at going, okay, Cuero might not be not only district champion, but are they going to fall down to kind of that 3rd and 4th seed, which is, when's the last time we've seen that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge result there for Rockport Fulton. A spectacular victory there for that program as Rockport Fulton gets a 57-56 win tonight. And Eric Souza, probably the biggest win of his young career there with Rockport Fulton. They improved to 4-3 and more importantly 1-0 in district play. We are still rolling here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We are taking you up to the top of the hour. That is midnight for those who don't speak TV. Coming up after the break, we've got more scores and highlights from across the state of Texas. A wild Week 7 of Texas high school football. Stay with us.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texan Lives Athlete of the Month, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, shines a spotlight on one outstanding female and one exceptional male athlete each month who exemplify excellence on and off the field. This prestigious recognition celebrates student athletes who demonstrate remarkable athletic performance, unwavering dedication to their teams, and a commitment to their communities. To nominate your student athlete, scan the QR code on screen or visit texasfootball.com/athlete of the month. With support from Dick's Sporting Goods, we are proud to honor these young leaders who inspire their peers and represent the best of Texas high school sports.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
Are you having the best night of your life because you're joining us here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight? We're having the best night of our life because we're excited that you are here with us. All right, let's get straight into some more highlights from Friday Night Lights here in the state of Texas as we head down to the 512, the Austin area, as Hutto was taking on Round Rock. This is Jack Apple, the senior. He's going to keep that and puts Round Rock up 6-0. Round Rock decides to go for the onside kick shortly after this.
Oh!
It's Santiago Azire. He perfectly places it into him. How about that? And that resulted in this Brady Cochran touchdown. They're up 13-0. Then in the second quarter, Hutto bites back with a huge 64-yard touchdown here as junior wide receiver Jaden Fields takes it to the house. The score now 13-7. Into the fourth quarter we go. Round Rock comes into the fourth with an 8-yard touchdown pass as he goes through the defender to pull that one down. The score 26-25. Hutto quickly returns the favor as senior running back Chavis strutters into the right, and it is 33-25. A few minutes later, it's Dobbs Stickler. The pass intended for Dylan Yeager, but it falls at the hands of Justin Fields. Just over a minute left in the game. It's Daniel Berry. He's going to rear back and drop the dime 34 yards out to make it 31-33. But the 2-point conversion, can he get it? It's no good, and the Hutto Hippos survive 33-31 for Eli Reinhardt's ball club, and a much-needed win there. We take a look at the rest of the Austin scores around the area. Austin Anderson, the Trojans are having one heck of a season, and they just keep it going. 45-24 over Pflugerville Hendrickson. Weiss with a massive win there against Buda Hayes, 50-8. How about this? Georgetown Eastview 42, Cedar Park 38. An interesting finish there. Then Georgetown squeaks one out against Leander Rouse in a big district matchup, 35-33. Another tight ball game here. Dripping Springs able to beat Austin Bowie 28-21, and we round it all out with Cedar Park Vista Ridge in a 4-point game against Round Rock McNeil. What was going on in Austin tonight?
Okay, let me tell you something. 25-6A is even more of a mess now. Now, here is the good news. The good news is if you're Hutto, feeling great.
Yeah.
They're 4-0 in district play. They get a big win tonight over Round Rock. They are in cruise control. Of all the teams in that district, they are the team that basically the only team that feels good. They're like, hey, 4-0. That's great. Everyone else is in the soup. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, including Vista Ridge beats McNeil tonight. Remember, McNeil just got done beating Vandergrift, right? It is a ludicrous district that is going to take, we're going to need to get out the abacus and to figure out what's going on. I think that also, you mentioned it, Georgetown Eastview over Cedar Park is a seismic upset. That's a huge, huge upset there. Cedar Park had been rolling, felt really good about the way things were going, but Eastview goes on the road to Gupton Stadium and gets a big win over Georgetown Eastview, 42-38. That is pretty important there for Eastview as they keep on rolling. All right, speaking of keeping on rolling, let's roll into the Super Syntax region to talk about a big game there in District 12 6A as Hewitt Midway took on Temple in a massive game there. We'll take a look at Super Syntax scores first there as Waco La Vega gets a win tonight over Gatesville, 24-7. That was a Gatesville team that entered the game unbeaten, but Waco La Vega makes short work of that. Big six-man game in the Super Syntax. Aquila gets a win over Coolidge tonight. It was Whitney taking down the Zebras of Grandview tonight, 34-7. Salado over Wimberley, 23-9, in what can only be described as a pretty big upset there. But Salado's playing good ball right now. Keep an eye on them. Mason does Mason things to Thorndale, 18-0. Real workman-like there from Mason. And it was Goldthwaite getting a win tonight over previously unbeaten Frost, 42-0. Those are some scores from the Super Syntax region. Let's now roll back to one of the big games in District 12 6A. It was Hewitt Midway taking on Temple in a critical matchup for district jockeying. Let's go to the highlights there. Super Syntax region, Temple taking on Hewitt Midway. First quarter to get the scoring started, it's Midway's Jaden Fields Vaughn, who's going to take it in for the score. 25-yard touchdown makes it 7-0 Midway. Still in the first, Temple looking to respond. Cavalli Bivens bounces to the outside and hits the Jets. 59 yards later, it's Blue Front Whiteback Magic knotting this ball game up at 7. Now the second quarter, Midway's knocking on the door. And that is when they're going to hand the ball off to Lathan Wissington, who's going to plunge in for the score. As Panthers retake the lead 14-7. Back and forth we go, but Midway now into the second half, clinging to a 20-7 lead. They hand the ball to Wissington and watch the magic happen. Bursting through the middle, keeping his feet. It's a 56-yard touchdown. What a night for the junior running back. Midway gets a critical 27-7 win over Temple. That's a really important win there in District 12 6A, as Hewitt Midway now feels like the team that they are at least in control of that district. Let's take one more look at the Super Syntax scores there. What stuck out to you about what we saw tonight?
Man, I think that Goldthwaite win over Frost was a really big one. That District 10 2A Division 2 is a nasty one. Bremont undefeated, Chilton undefeated. Frost came into this game undefeated. Goldthwaite kind of pulling up that fourth spot there, and we were wondering just how much this game would impact that, and Goldthwaite really kind of showing, hey, actually, we're not only maybe the third best team in this. They've still got another game. They did lose to Chilton earlier this year, only 14-0. So clearly, it was a low-scoring affair, a big defensive slug. But their game against Bremont next week, I think, will start to kind of figure out where this seeding falls for that district.
Yeah, it's a big district. It's is it 7 teams? I think.
Yeah, it's a lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe. It's a huge district in 2A Division 2. They tend to have 6-team districts, so a lot of room to jockey for position as we round third and head for home there.
How about we head down to the Houston area as we take a look
H-Town.
at Port Arthur Memorial taking on Barbers Hill in a district matchup. First quarter here, Port Arthur Memorial already leading 7-3. It's going to be senior quarterback Amonte Martin who will keep the keeper there, and that puts the Titans up 14-3. Still in the first, Port Arthur Memorial's Amonte Martin with the read option pull that's faked out by the camera, but he's going to take it in 19 yards. Titans pad their lead 21-3. On to the second half, the Titans at it again, and this time it's tailback Alex Eugene from 10 yards out who dives for the pylon, and when he's in, the effort from the senior. Titans up big 27-6. Now in the fourth quarter, Port Arthur Memorial is going to look to air it out and not able to get it done there. 34-6. They will go on to win it. We take a look at the score zone for the greater Houston area scores, and Waller so close, but they fall by 2, 35-33 against Cy Ranch. Beeville, a big win, 35-20 over Sealy. Tomball Massive win there over Klein Oak, 34-13. Dayton falls to Montgomery Lake Creek, 50-26. Richmond Randall having a nice win over the Stingarees of Texas City, 25-7. And then a game we're keeping our eye on for tomorrow, Houston Memorial and Cy-Fair taking each other on.
Yeah, Randall in Texas City was bizarre. This game was 13-7, like late into the third quarter and maybe even into the fourth quarter. Randall just having trouble getting going offensively, but the defense stood on its head, and Randall, of course, the reigning state champs, looking good and remaining undefeated. Belleville, another big win for programs that we thought might be reloading, but Belleville gets a nice win on the road at Sealy. And then you mentioned it, Tomball's win over Klein Oak. That is a wild district. You did the Port Arthur Memorial District or highlights.
Mm-hmm.
They are now 7-0. Brian Morgan's ball club, I think, looks every bit the part of a contender. They have been really spectacular on both sides of the ball. I think they've outscored their opponents something along the lines of like 350 to 100 on the year. Like, this has been a dominant Port Arthur Memorial team that I think we need to be paying much more statewide attention to. They have been absolutely outstanding all year long. So that is some scores from around the Houston area. Of course, TexasFootball.com/scores has all of the scores that you need. It's that time of night, Ashley. It's that time of night where it's getting late. I haven't eaten for at least 30 minutes because we've been doing this show since 10:30. I'm a little peckish. Do you guys want to see what's in the fridge?
I figured everyone could hear my stomach growling, so I'm glad you said something because I was going to blame it on you regardless. So
coming up after the break, it is the grand finale of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, a segment we call Eating Out of the Fridge. Stay with us. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight rolls on.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
And we welcome you back into our favorite segment of the night. We call this one Eating Out of the Fridge because we've got all of this stuff, all of the leftovers ready here, and it's time to feast. So what a better way to feast than heading down to the Coastal Bend. We go down where Corpus Christi Miller was taking on Corpus Christi Carroll. The Carroll Tigers are riding a 2-game win streak, facing the Miller Buccaneers, who won their first game of the season last Friday. Quiet first quarter, but the second was electric. It's Miller's Daryl Donaldson who gets the rock and goes in to put the Bucs up by 13. Miller attacks again, and it's David James who fires to C.J. Perry. High points the ball and hauls it in from 32 yards out. Miller's up 19-0. Then the scoring would just keep happening. He delivers a dart there to Isaiah Gridley. The final score here would go on to be 31-0 over Corpus Christi Miller. Carroll takes the victory in a massive... No, I take that back. I got that flipped. Miller goes on to win it 31-0. So now they have found a way to win 2 games in a row, and you start to wonder if Justin Evans' squad is starting to get into the groove of things and figure it out there.
They've certainly figured something out defensively, which is big. So the Rio Grande Valley we go. McAllen taking on McAllen Memorial, and here come those Mustangs of McAllen Memorial. And first quarter, it's going to be a handoff to Braxton Spates. He's going to take it in for the score. Mustangs up early, 7-0. Spates is a name that certainly resonates among running backs in there. Then second quarter, McHigh punts, but the ball is going to be fumbled from the Bulldogs, and Mustangs would recover, and they would capitalize. Jorge Munoz is going to take it in from a few yards out. Mustangs would extend their lead 14-0. Then Third quarter, McAllen High's got the ball. It's McCoy Walthoff. It's going to throw the ball to Finn Henderson, but it's going to be intercepted by Nehemiah Adebowale as the Mustangs have the ball now. A couple plays later, they're on the doorstep as this is going to be a touchdown run here from Kane Coy. They're up 21-0. McAllen Memorial goes on to win this one 35-21 over McAllen High. From there, we go to the Super Syntex region where Fairfield is taking on TIG in the Battle of 84. Rivals there in Fairfield. These teams do love each other. Fairfield starts strong. The famous Brackens family is out in TIG. Jason Brackens takes it in 35 yards for the score, and Fairfield is up early. Then later, TIG would make a fourth down stop. They were pinned on their own 1 yard line. Fairfield capitalizing with a safety for Braden Thornburg. Look at the Eagles doing the safety dance. Then Fairfield continued their dominance in this one as Cole Collins rolling, directing traffic, a strike to Connor Culver in the end zone for a touchdown. Fairfield is rolling, but TIG would not go away. The midfield, Garrett Winkler is going to find Colton Smith on this in the flat here. Nifty play call for a huge gain. TIG would go on to score on the next play, but it wasn't enough. Fairfield goes on to win this one 44-6 in the Battle of 84 down there in Central Texas, as it is Fairfield getting the victory tonight. 44-6 was your final as Fairfield continues just keep on running. Big wins tonight for the Eagles of Fairfield, who did have one of my favorite Texas football players, Larry Rose III.
How about that? Can I insert a little thing? This is courtesy of our friend Colton McWilliams down at the San Marcos Chronicle. Mm-hmm. So San Marcos falls to East Central 28-24. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's because East Central scored 28 unanswered points in the second half.
Oh, wow.
Is that a wild finish?
They're on 24-0, and then it was 28 unanswered for the Hornets of East Central.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
That is
just
wild.
a tidbit of a weird game of the night.
It was a bit of a weird night across the Texas high school football landscape, but we are looking forward already to Week 8 of the Texas high school football season. Let's take a look at our Built for Tough games to watch for Week 8. The Texas high school football season. Port Arthur Memorial and Beaumont Westbrook. Yeah, maybe we were teasing how good Port Arthur Memorial has looked and how good Beaumont Westbrook's looked because they play each other next week. That'll be a lot of fun. Lake Travis and Dripping Springs is a critical District 26 6A matchup. Columbus and Yoakum, you get those two teams together. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shiner and Falls City is a big game in 2A Division 2. Lavernia taking on Bay City, and Carthage and Athens tussle out east. There are Built for Tough games to watch in Week 8.
So there you go. One more thing that we want to do before we cap off the Week 7 episode of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is we wanted to let y'all know, if you're just watching this show, we have a lot more programming that we do here throughout the week in Dave Campbell's Texas Football. So let's go ahead and take a look at other shows that you can come back wherever you're watching this program right now. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere that you're watching this, you can come back
MySpace.
We're not on MySpace. See, this is how you prove to people that I'm not the older sister.
We could be.
But you can join, if you haven't gotten enough of the two of us, you can join us on Texas Football Today, our flagship program here at Dave Campbell's for Monday Morning Fallout, where we overreact to the football weekend, as Greg Tepper likes to say. That's at noon every single Monday. Then the picks. This doofus over here makes predictions of a ton of games across the state, and we air that live on all of our DCTX channels on 12 o'clock p.m. And then finally, new this year, the Rising Game of the Week. So that is Greg Powers, Mallory Hartley, Carter Yates, and Gavin Moritz, who travel all across the state and do a broadcast for free.
For free?
On YouTube and Texan Live that you can watch. And really, it's cool because you get a much more in-depth recruiting perspective. It's a different take on how to call a game, but we hope that you will come to our YouTube page and watch that one for free every single Thursday night.
Yeah, of course. We've got programming every day on TexasFootball.com. You can find all of the things you need to be a Texas high school football fan, TexasFootball.com. That is going to do it for us. We're wrapping up a Week 7 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We so appreciate you spending part of your evening with us. Make sure you go follow us on all our socials. Ryan Hooks is glad that I said that. For our producer, Vianney Moreno and Ashley Pickle, I am Greg Tepper. We will see you next week on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. See ya.